The difference between responding as a generator, generally speaking, for generators, that response thing is constant. It's you're responding to the weather, you're responding to looking out the window and seeing what's going on out there, you're responding to what's at the dinner table. I'm currently responding to the piece of chocolate that somebody placed on my desk, and I'm thinking I want to eat it, right? That's a generator always responding. For the projector, the invitation is about really being invited into the big things. Like, I want to really, really drive this point home because I see this being taught in a way that I think is really actually harmful to projectors sometimes. When you are a projector, you are here to wait for an invitation to the big things in life, like to get a new job or to start a new relationship or to move across the country, provided you don't have an open G and you're not splenic. There are other workarounds, but for the most part, those big invitations are to big opportunities in life, and they don't always come that often. So the generators, all day long, right? The projectors, not so much. And what I hear sometimes in the way in which we talk about projectors is that projectors are kind of taught sometimes that they have to wait for an invitation for everything. And that's not true. You don't need an invitation to go get gas in your car. You don't need an invitation to go out to eat. You don't need an invitation to go to a movie. You don't need an invitation to anything except for the big things. In between, you get to be a regular human being. In fact, Ra used to teach that once you get the invitation into a big opportunity, like if you get invited into a job, once you're in that job, you get to be like a manifester. You can do whatever you want because the initial approach to the relationship with what you're entering into is what makes it correct. But after that, all bets are off. You get to do whatever you want. And so really make sure that when we talk about projectors, we're not making them be overly sensitive to invitations, because that's actually being generators. Generators are responding constantly. The projector, you don't need to. You know what the potential is. You see the possibility. You don't have to wait for somebody to tell you to share it if you've been invited into a relationship. So really don't forget that piece, because I think sometimes when I hear, and I hear sometimes comments students make, and I hear and read things on the internet, I sometimes think, people think that projectors have to wait all the time, and you don't. Just don't go do big things by yourself. And here's the thing. Here's one other piece. I hesitate to say this but I want to be really, really clear. Type, strategy, and authority is not designed to be a permanent lifestyle. It's a healing process. The purpose of following your strategy for your type and really connecting with your authority is to get you back in touch with your body, to get you back in touch with what does truth feel like to you? What does it feel like when it feels right? Right? We say that all the time, oh, it feels right, but what does that actually feel like? A lot of times when we become conditioned, we disconnect from the body and until our body screams loud enough sometimes that we have to stop and pay attention to it. So sometimes, part of that following strategy for your type and following your authority is about getting you back in touch with figuring out and sensing and feeling and knowing viscerally and sensually, what does the right path feel like for me? When you follow that path long enough, when you really trust it and you're in it and you remember what that cadence of guidance and divine guidance and source and all of those things feel like in your body, then you move into exploring how do you evolve that story. And that's when you move into that more quantum expression of the types, because now you're not healing that rift between the body and truth anymore. Now you're in it, you know it, and now you can start to trust those inner urges, those downloads that come in the shower, those insights that you have. You don't get there immediately. And that's the piece. That's why I sometimes hesitate to say it, because I know the manifesting generator is like, oh yeah, that's it. That's where I am right now. I know for sure that's true, right? And I want to caution you, take your time and really get there, because when you get there, then you can liberate yourself from feeling like you have to be in this completely receptive place. Don't rush it. But it's not a permanent lifestyle.